So your phone suggests a person you have never messaged, never searched, never added. And somehow it says you two probably know each other. And it's right. A bank freezes a card the second a fraud ring lights up, before a human even looks at it. Netflix lines up a row of shows and you actually want to watch three of them. Now these look like completely different apps doing completely different things. But underneath, they all are doing the exact same trick. And that trick is graph engineering. So give me your next few minutes. By the end of this, you will know what graph engineering actually is, how it works, when you should use it, and when you should not. And you will finally get why this topic is showing up everywhere in AI right now. Two questions I want you to hold in your head. One, why is a graph sometimes thousands of times faster than a normal database for the exact same question? And two, why did every AI team suddenly start talking about this in the last couple of years? I'm gonna answer both. Let's start. But before we get into any of that, let me show you what a graph even is, because it's honestly way simpler than the name makes it sound. Okay, so forget the word graph for a second. This is not the bar chart kind of graph, a totally different thing. A graph is just two ingredients. You have things and you have connections between those things. That's it. The things are called nodes. So think of people, you, your friend Sarah, her friend Ali. Each person is one node. And the connections are called edges. The friendship between you and Sarah, that's an edge. The friendship between Sarah and Ali, that's another edge. So, a social network drawn out is literally just dots for people and lines for friendships. You already understand graphs. You have been living inside one every day. Now, two small details because we are gonna need them later. An edge can have a direction. On Instagram, you following someone is not the same as them following you back, right? So that arrow points one way. That's a directed edge. And an edge can carry a weight, which is basically how strong the connection is. You and your best friend, heavyweight. You and someone you met once at an event, lightweight. Same idea, just a number on the line. And that's the whole vocabulary: nodes, edges, direction, weight. Keep this picture in your head because everything from here builds on it. So, here is the question that actually matters. We already have databases. Why would anyone invent a whole new way to store this? Let me show you. This is the part I really want you to get, so stick with me for 1 minute. In a normal database, the kind most apps use, your data lives in tables, rows, and columns. People in one table, friendships in another. And that works completely fine when you are asking simple stuff like, what's Sarah's email? But now ask a different question. Who are the friends of the friends of the friends of Sarah? Three hops out. In a table based database, that question is painful. The system has to stop and cross check giant tables against each other again and again. Once for every single hop. One hop is okay. Three hops, it's sweating. Six hops on millions of people, it basically gives up. This cross checking is called a join, and joins are exactly where normal databases start to crawl. Now, was the same question in a graph. You start at Sarah's node, you just walk along the friendship lines, hop, hop, hop. You are not searching the whole database. You are only following the connections that are literally already there. So it stays fast even when you go deep. And that answers the first question from the intro. A graph can be thousands of times faster on these connected questions because it never does that expensive cross checking. It just follows the lines. So, in a graph, the relationships are not extra baggage sitting off in some other table. The relationships are the main event. They are stored as first class things you can walk across. In other words, Use a graph when the connections between your data are just as important as the data itself. That one sentence is basically the whole reason graph engineering exists. Okay, so the idea makes sense. But how do you actually build one of these and ask it questions? Let me show you the real tools. So, to store a graph, you use a graph database. The most popular one and the easiest place to start is called Neo4j. There is also Amazon Neptune, Tiger Graph, FalconDB, a few others. Now, to ask a graph database a question, you don't write it the same way as a normal database. You use a graph query language, and the main one is called Cypher. And here is the part I love about Cypher. You basically draw the pattern you are looking for in text. Let me show you one line. Now, don't panic at the syntax. Look at the shape of it. You are literally sketching friend of a friend as a picture, and Cypher goes and finds every person who fits that shape. That's the whole feel of it. You describe the shape you want, the database goes and walks the connections for you. You are not telling it how to search, you are just telling it what the pattern looks like. So now you can store a graph and ask it questions. But the real power shows up when you run actual graph algorithms on it. And you already understand all three of the big ones. You just don't know it yet. So there are a bunch of graph algorithms, but for a beginner, three of them carry almost everything. And I will tie each one straight back to a little friend network. First one, shortest path. This finds the fewest hops between two people. You have seen this exact thing on LinkedIn when it says someone is a third connection. That number, that's our shortest path algorithm counting the hops between you and them. So, degrees of separation done for you. Second one, and this is a big one, page rank. This finds the most important, most influential node in the network, not the person with the most friends, the person whose friends themselves are well connected. Fun fact, this is literally the idea Google was built on, ranking web pages by how important the pages linking to them were. In our network, PageRank finds the real influencer. Third one, community detection. This finds the natural groups inside the network. Your college friends over here, your work people over here, your family in another cluster. You never told it those groups exist. It found them just from the pattern of connections. And notice, I told you what each one does, not the heavy math inside it. That's on purpose. As a beginner, knowing what to reach for is the skill. The internal math, that's a rabbit hole for later. And honestly, the library does it for you anyway. Alright, we are about two-thirds in. You now understand what a graph is, why it beats a normal database on connections, how to query it, and the core algorithms. So, let me show you where all of this is actually earning its keep in the real world, including that AI question I promised you. So, where does graph engineering show up for real? Fraud detection. Fraudsters don't act alone, they work in rings, and rings are a shape. A graph spots that shape almost instantly. Second is recommendations. People like you also bought this. It's just walking connections between users and products. Supply chains, delivery routes, even mapping how one failure cascades through a system. All connections, all graphs. And now the AI part. The second question from the intro. You have probably used an AI chatbot that answers confidently and gets it flat wrong, especially when the answer needs it to connect a few separate facts together. That's because it's pulling loose chunks of text and hoping they line up. So people started feeding the AI a knowledge graph instead. That's just a graph where the nodes are facts and the edges are how those facts relate. Now the AI can actually walk the connections between facts instead of guessing. This approach has a name, GraphRAG, and it's become the go-to way to plug real connected knowledge into an AI system. But GraphRAG is not automatically better than normal AI search. When the question is simple and the answer sits in one place, plain search is faster and cheaper. The graph earns its place when the question needs connecting the dots, multiple hops. How does this relate to that? So it's a tool for a specific job, not a magic upgrade for everything. Use it when the connections are the point. And that honestly carries right into the most useful thing I can tell you, which is when you should not reach for a graph at all. By the way, I already created a video on GraphRAG. If you want to learn, check it out here on top, and I will also leave the link in the description. So here is something I really want you to remember. A graph is not always the answer, and reaching for one when you don't need it just makes your life harder. If your data is basically a list and your questions are simple lookups, like give me this user's order, a normal database is the right tool. Cleaner, cheaper, everyone on your team already knows it. Dropping a graph on that is like renting a movie truck to carry one bag. The test is that question from earlier. Are the connections between your data actually important to the questions you are asking? If yes, graph. If your data just sits in neat, independent rows and the relationships don't really come up, don't force it. So you get the idea, you know when to use it and when not to. Let me leave you with one thing you can actually do today and where to go next. Here is your one concrete step for today. Go to Neo4j free online sandbox. It comes with a ready-made example graph of movies and actors. Load it and run one shortest path query between two actors. When you see it hop across the connections and hand you the answer, this whole video is gonna fall into place for you. Reading about graphs and trying one are two very different feelings, and I want you to try it. Now, if you really want to learn Neo4j properly, there is a course named Neo4j Foundations on Udemy. It's short, it's made for total beginners. It's the first link down in the description, so you can't miss it. And if you would rather earn a proper certificate or you like learning on a subscription instead, I have dropped a couple of other options down there too. So just pick whatever fits the way you like to learn. And one thing I intentionally left out, there is a whole machine learning side to this, where graphs get fed into neural networks to predict connections that don't exist yet, like guessing who you will be friends with next. That's a real graph engineering too, but it's a big topic on its own. So back to the very start. Your phone guessing who you know, the bank catching the fraud ring, Netflix reading your taste. Now you know the secret. It's all the same move. Store the word as things and connections. Then work the connections faster than anyone thought possible. That's graph engineering. If you finally understand what graph engineering is, hit that like button. Go build your first graph. See you in the next one. A few links in this video are affiliate links. If you purchase through them, I may earn a small commission at no additional cost to you. I only recommend resources I trust and find valuable.